I've heard that your kids were really excited when you joined on to this film, and that their friends were really excited. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
I've never been the cool dad in my kids' eyes. I've just been dad. But now, we're talking world-class cool because I'm in one of their favorite movie franchises. They've had an opportunity to see some of the behind-the-scenes footage and the intercutting between their father voicing the character and the rendering of the character saying my words, and they're blown away. They can't wait till the movie comes out, and they're gonna have the opportunity to bring their friends, and yeah, it's a whole new world in my household. I have now taken my rightful place as the head of the family, as the cool dad who leads the charge. Yes.
And I heard that you were getting a little bit mobbed at the playgrounds. You're like a superstar at the playgrounds now.
Not at the playgrounds, but definitely there's an awareness out there that Coach Benjamin, because I coach my kids' baseball team along with some other dads. Yeah, the word is out, and so yeah, it'll be a fun-filled summer with lots of play dates, I think, at our house.
Like, come to my house.
Come to my house, yeah.
Eduardo. So let's talk about Eduardo. I saw the movie last night. Really fun. I thought Eduardo was so lovable and just open, and he sure loves to dance.
He does.
Can you tell me a little bit about Eduardo, sort of set him up for me?
That's what I loved about Eduardo, is that he is a man that is expansive in every way imaginable. He's got a larger-than-life personality, very, very Latin in the sense that he's exuberant, quick to hug and to laugh and of course to dance. Just has a real zest for life. He's a family man. He owns a restaurant. So that was really fun for me to play. And what's interesting about the process is that, I share qualities with Eduardo, not on that scale, of course, but I have a zest for life, I fancy. But whatever you're bringing to the recording session and you think it's appropriate or enough, it ain't enough. What I discovered is that in the eyes of the director and the filmmakers is that more is more, not less is more. And that's usually been my approach, is less is more on camera. But in the recording session, bring everything you have, and even when you think you've reached your limit, it's not gonna be enough. Bring even more. So that was actually really freeing from an actor's point of view, to be able to go there, to be encouraged to go to a place you didn't think existed.
And then, of course, there's El Macho, who is a pretty hardcore villain. Tell me about the duality of playing those two characters.
El Macho is such a bad dude that he was known and feared to be the most ruthless, dangerous villain alive some 20 years before the story begins. And he would pull off capers using his bare hands. He would, to stop an armored car, for example, he'd punch the front of it and then rip it open. Yeah, uber macho. But it was also thought that he met his death, legend had it, by riding on the back of a shark with 250 pounds of dynamite strapped to his chest. And if that wasn't enough, into the mouth of an active volcano. What we discover is that, in fact, he survived that debacle, and what a man to be able to survive something like that. So quite a lot to live up to and fun to play.
And for you, so I was at the screening last night. There was men, there was women, there was children there. Everybody was laughing, everybody was loving it. What do you think the broad appeal of these types of movies is, this franchise?
It's supremely evident to me that it's a film that has something for everyone. And that's just not a marketing statement I'm making. I didn't know anything about a sequel or that I'd ever had anything to do with a sequel. I loved the first film because it was a film that my wife and I would enjoy. There's subversive humor in it, and it's acerbic, and there's a kind of nastiness to it that's very mature, and yet it's also balanced with these adorable minions and this real humanity. I hate to even go there, but there's a heart in the film that is undeniable. So to have at the heart of your story a man who aspires to be the most villainous person in the world and has got an evil side and wants to be diabolical, and even as he discovers, we discover that he in fact has a heart in there. That's a great journey to go on, and it's hilarious. So the beauty of this sequel is it's a revisiting of those favorite characters, and circumstances, and yet it's a brand new story with the introduction of two brand new characters that keeps it fresh. But that balance, you know, that alchemy that I'm talking about between the acerbic and the subversive humor and the tenderness is still right in place.
And I felt like it really has more energy, more comedy, more action than the first one. So it kind of, you know, I think it sets the bar even higher.
Well, if that's the case, it's certainly because there's a Latin presence now in the film, and it's hard to deny that, you know, with the Latin flair in place, it makes things altogether more enjoyable, perhaps. Spicier. It's spicier. No, I'm joking, obviously, but you know, who doesn't like a love story? You know, yes, there are villains and good guys and bad guys and cool gadgets and cool cars and everything else, but also what we find in the sequel is that Gru is on a hunt for love, and the prime candidate might be right in front of his eyes, and he doesn't even know it. So that's part of the fun too.